All right, AirPods Max sound quality. The question you've all been asking. Some things like audio quality are just worth taking your time for. To get into the details,
Do they sound good?
Here's a real conversation.
Goedendag, we're DHRME.
Dudes
Helpfully
roasting
many
earphones. So we tested this to begin with how 95% of folks are probably going to use these headphones wirelessly.
There is also a wire involved, but that's for later.
Yeah. To give Apple the benefit of the doubt, we used Apple Music on an iPhone for the AirPods Max and Tidal on an Android with Sony Xperia 5 II on the Sony XM4s and the Sennheiser Momentum 3s. Okay, there's no second MQN folding, I know, but it should theoretically still be better than AAC.
Can we continue this review in English?
So, Kevin, would you call yourself an audiophile?
Like an MP3?
Okay, that's my answer. So what were your first reactions to the AirPods Max?
Yeah, look, Ron, I like music, but good is good enough for me. I felt they sounded fine like most other headphones, got plenty loud, and I was able to enjoy my music. My impressions were positive, but I'm not a hard person to impress. I'll reserve further judgment for when I become an MP3. What about you, Ron?
Look, so I've been a musician and I think I'm a little bit deeper into music than you are, Kevin. And I believe in using your gear to enjoy music and not the other way around.
So that's what an audiophile means.
Anyway, with that out of the way, for sound, we brought out the heavy hitters of the ANC world, the Sennheiser and the Sony, as I mentioned before. And the funny thing is, out of the box, I don't like any of these headphones stock tuning, but for opposite reasons. The AirPods Max sound too bright to my ears and the Sony and the Sennheiser too dark. The frequency response curves here will illustrate that. If you don't want to customize anything, the AirPods Max stock tuning might be better for everyone's taste, except for bass heads who might like the Sony or the Sennheiser.
Hey, but luckily you can EQ the Sony WH-1000 XM4s.
While still staying on LDAC.
As we said in the review, and the Momentum has that 3-band EQ and the magic dot thingy in the app, but not the AirPods Max.
That's right, Kevin. The Sony is much more customizable and the Momentum 3s also, but to a lesser degree. And while the Max has no real EQ, you can make significant adjustments to the sound profile, either a fully custom setup or choose between one of 3 presets, balanced, vocal range, and bright. For me, the discovery of this, shout out to Andrew, was a game changer. I switched the AirPods Max to vocal range and things fell immediately into place. And here are the settings I used for the Sony XM4 and the Momentum 3s.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of work.
Hey, anything for DHRME? Do it, subscribe, because we really do try hard.
So what's the conclusion, Rowan? Because myself, being part of the 95%, wouldn't even bother going into the accessibility setting and adjusting the preset. I'd leave it on default and be plenty satisfied.
Yeah, so what's the conclusion? Yeah, let's start with how I tested these. I tested a range of genres from Billie Eilish and Lady Gaga for pop, to Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson for rock, to Megadeth and Slipknot for metal, to the Bill Evans Trio for, the 70s jazz, and whatever genre Daft Punk and Massive Attack are. There's a definite difference between these 3 headphones. The stock tuning is super bright on the AirPods Max to the point I found that the treble was a bit too high in the mix. By using the vocal range setting, it's very good. Some vocals still have like a steely edge to them, but that's more than balanced out by everything else. The sub bass is tight and punchy. The mid bass is probably underemphasized, if anything. Overall volume is low compared to other cans, but plenty loud for me. And benefit, it never audibly distorts, even at the loudest volumes. It never even gets grating like it does with other headphones. So overall, very Apple in that sense. The soundstage is a bit wider than the Sony and about the same as the Momentums for the songs I tested with, and their near stepless volume is also a huge hit for me. With the Momentums, I always felt like my ideal volume was stuck between 2 different steps. With the AirPods Max, that was not the case. And yes, the AirPods Max sound good.
But didn't you say that LDAC has a higher transmission rate and more transmission equals better sound?
Yes, on paper, on AAC at a mere 256 kbps, the Max stack up favorably against the Sony's LDAC and the Sennheiser's aptX implementations. Take a bow, Apple.
And what's this about the H1 chips? 2 on the Max?
Funnily enough, while I have EQ'd the other 2 headphones to compensate for the consumer bass-emphasized sound signatures, I still felt the need to keep tweaking them for different songs, but almost never for the Max. I'm not sure if it's the computational audio using the H1 chips or something else, but it really is more set it and forget it than the other two. And when it comes to treble extension and clarity, the Max destroys both its competitors, if you're a treble person.
And how does one know that you're a treble person?
I think others have to tell you. For vocals though, I find myself continuing to prefer the Sony and Sennheiser. Maybe I just like my vocals a bit warm.
Hey, what about the super expensive cable we bought? The 40 euros one?
Oh yeah. I found that it was possible to get more volume out of the Max with the cable, and the sound is also a little different. The highs seemed a bit tamed.
Right, Rowan, that's a lot of words. I thought we promised to do this review in English.
Sorry, it got a bit technical there, but Kevin, let's talk about spatial audio on movies, because these headphones are not just for music, movies as well, especially on Disney+.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome feature. It's not exactly surround sound, but more of a directional sound. So say you're watching movies on your iPad and turn away from it, there's still the illusion that the audio is coming from your iPad. It's kind of freaky, but it's a shame that Apple TV doesn't have this yet. But hey, it's just a software update away? Probably. It's Apple. The big question would be, is the Max $200 better, just for the sound?
Or 2.5 times the price, like in India.
For latest prices, check out the links in the description down below. Using them won't cost you anything extra and helps us make more free quality content for you guys. Since I'm not in that MP3 life, I definitely don't find the Max worth it purely for the sound quality. My take is as follows. If you're tempted for AirPods for the Apple magic, like the connectivity, spatial audio, noise cancelling, etc., then I'd rather spend $250 on the AirPods Pro and get a pair of comfortable but good noise cancelling over ears for another $250, and I'd still have money left over.
Okay, the Max sounds cleaner, richer, and just better. But, and this is a big but, with my unstopping EQ tweaking and using the right source, I could get like 90 to 95% of the AirPods Max sound out of the Sennheiser and the Sony. If you use a good source, the Max just purely for sound, as far as we are concerned, are maybe $30 or $40 better. So don't get the Max just for the sound if you already own the XM4s or the Momentum 3s, or even if you're just considering one of these, and if you have a good source.
Yeah, my sources are always legit, but I can't tell you what they are.
That's it for the sound, but the Max might just be a more attractive package overall. We will be doing a full review, so stay tuned for that.
You've been listening to an audio file and an MP3.
And we've been DHRME. Namaste.